Okay. I'd like to call a meeting to order at 8:02 a.m. Any public comments this morning?
Yes, I have one. I would like to introduce Sam Kindraki. She is the new Wilmington Works coordinator, and we are really thrilled to have her on board. And Meg used to join these meetings, and I think that Sam will as well on a regular basis. So thanks for being here, Sam.
Thank you.
Should we do a quick go around of who everybody is?
Sure.
Why don't you start, Eric?
Hi, I'm Eric Derosher. I am the Economic Development Director of the town of Dover. I'm on here.
Oh, you are. Okay, good. Oh. Charlie.
Charlie Foster, I own the Wilmington Inn, and I'm the president of the chamber.
You were Claire.
She knows her. Heidi.
Heidi Taylor, I'm the representative from Wilmington and I run Deerfield Rescue.
And you know who I am, Brian?
Brian Soodles, I'm the general manager at Mount Snow.
And Laura?
Laura Sibilia, Director of Regional Strategies for BDCC and State Rep for Dover.
And Christine?
Christine Howe, General Manager of Southeast Vermont Transit, also known as the mover of the Big Cow buses.
And last but not least, Shannon.
Hi, sorry, Shannon Wheeler. I work for the town of Dover and I take the minutes for this meeting, which is why it took me a second to click my video on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here, Samantha. All right. Additions or changes to the agenda today? Hearing none. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the June 12th meeting. Heidi motions. I have a second. Bethany seconds. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay, so we're gonna do an update from the housing committee and these the BiTown housing rental subcommittee report today. So just a few notes on this. The report itself is currently being reviewed by all of the members who participated in the committee. So this is not the final report, it is the draft report while we get any notes or comments from those committee members. Are you good?
No, I can't share my screen for some reason.
I'm seeing your screen.
You are?
It says you are viewing Gretchen Hamberwood's screen.
Okay.
Everybody
right.
else seeing Gretchen's screen?
You're good.
Perfect.
Okay.
So as we go into this, this is a conversation that we started in BiTown housing a year and a half ago anyway, and we've talked about it off and on since then. Just understand that, in no way, shape, or form are we intending to, impede or shut down short-term rentals. I know that's been a hot button item here in the Valley as of late. Realistically, we understand the importance of short-term rentals and want to make sure that they can continue to run in a safe and cohesive capacity to the rest of our lodging options in the Valley. So we had this conversation in housing. It was moved to the BiTown rental subcommittee, and that's where this report is coming from. We will say it until we're blue in the face. That if you were responsibly running an Airbnb right now, none of this is really going to affect you all that much. It's really just to get some basic guidelines in place to make sure that short-term rental can continue to operate here in the Valley. So with that, I will pass it off to Charlie, who was the chair of the rental subcommittee, and he'll get us into the report.
Great, good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So the subcommittee, I'm gonna walk you guys through the report, but first we're gonna start with the sub-charge or primary goals of the committee. Our primary goal is to identify the impacts of short-term and long-term rentals in Dover and Wilmington communities. From there, we decided to look at, do some research about what the other communities.
Do you mind moving up? I guess people are having a little bit.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Okay,
They're all nodding their heads.
so I'll start over again. So I'm obviously the chair of the short-term and long-term rental committee. And the vice chairs are Gretchen and Eric. So our primary goal is we identified the impacts of short-term and long-term rentals on the Dover and Wilmington communities. From there, we decided to do some research on, while we said it to neighboring communities, originally we expanded to the entire US to see what the impact and regulations that are currently existing for short-term rental. And then finally, the committee, we made proposing some recommendations for short-term and long-term rental for Dover and Wilmington. So I'll tell you a little bit about the committee now.
Go to the next screen.
Yes, please. So in deciding on our committee, we decided to invite 11 to 12 members. The 11 to 12 members were coming from Dover and Wilmington. We attempted to get people in lodging, both communities, owners of short-term and long-term rental in both communities, realtors. We tried to get police and fire in both areas, and just really anyone that had a impact or a negative or positive from short-term and long-term rentals. So we went over, myself and our vice chairs here, our committee members, Jill Adams, she's an owner of short-term and long-term rentals in the Valley. Jennifer Hovey from Deerfield Valley Real Estate does a lot of rentals in her office there. Todd Garish, who's the owner of short-term and long-term rentals. Linda Kirsten, also an owner of short-term and long-term rentals. Michael Leveske, who's the owner of the Farm Road Estate. John LeBron from the Wilmington Planning Commission, and he's also in a Dover housing community. Shelley Lockyer is the owner of the Nutmeg Inn. James Walker, who's the director of Chimney Hill, and Rich Warner, who obviously owns a property management company, was also representing Dover Fire.
John LeBron does not own a house, does not live in a Dover housing community. He lives
He
on Lake
manages a HOA.
on Lake Raponda.
Oh, we can find it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
So one of the first things we started doing in our meetings is do some little background searching. So we had 3 presentations come in. Tim Dolan came in and gave us a presentation on AirDNA, the number of rentals in the area. We were able to go over the RevPAR for all these and really just see where the impact is now compared to what it was before the influx of housing. That was a very helpful presentation. Patrick Banks came in and taught us all about the fire code regarding occupancy in the state of Vermont. And then lastly, Chief Morano came in and gave us more information about any positive and negative calls they get regarding short-term and long-term rental in the Valley. So from there, the committee decided to identify what we think are the advantages and disadvantages of long-term and short-term rentals. So today we'll start with long-term rental. So our top 3 long-term rental pros is they provide workforce housing, economic impact, and they support the local community. Our top long-term rental cons were abusive tenants. Rents are higher than people can afford. And as we all know, there's not enough long-term rental. From there, we went on to short-term rental. So the top 3 short-term rental pros are economic impact, real estate sales, and property taxes collection. And then we had a tie because, well, we were taking a vote on them originally and everyone agreed on these. So the third one was tied 4 times. So it provides tourism money. There's already state rules in place regarding short-term rental, visitor capacity, so somewhere to have our visitors stay, and provides jobs. And then our top three short-term rental cons are changes the character of residential neighborhoods. Also a tie for safety for renters and difficult to regulate and enforce. Number two, takes long-term rentals off the market. Also tied on complaints of noise, parking, party houses. And number three is unregulated and tied for removes workforce housing. So at this point, the committee, the 12 of us, took all the different research areas and divided them among the committee. So we're just going to share some of this research today. You have that PowerPoint as well, or the Excel sheet.
Oh,
So
do you have that handy? The Excel?
it was in the emails.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go grab it.
So while she pulls up a PowerPoint, we had to make a very long Excel sheet, which is impossible to put into a PowerPoint, but while Gretchen pulls that up, I'll share this slide with you guys. So our current long-term rental inventory, Dover has 50 units. Again, this is an estimate based off listers cards. Wilmington has 113 long-term units, 33 properties researched through the property cards. 105 bedrooms were counted with 12 of the property cards not listed the number of bedrooms. So we then went on to do our research into short-term rental inventory. I'm making Gretchen's job pretty difficult over here. So I will read it to you guys while she figures it out. Oh,
I'm totally out. Here we go. There you go.
okay. So historically, we'll start with the June of 2022. In Dover, the number of rental units was 526. In June of 23, there was 540. And same for Wilmington. In June of 22, there was 326. And in June of 23, 353. In our Air DNA research, Tim was able to bring us back to 2018, 2019. And the original number for both of those, I believe Dover was about 320 and Wilmington was about 175. Great. Well, Gretchen's gonna pull up this Excel sheet. My apologies for not telling them to be prepared. So we then took the team and divided it into towns. So that some of the towns we looked at that had other short-term rental, Telluride, Nantucket did a lot, though it didn't get followed through. They did do a lot of research into short-term rental. We looked at Stowe, Vermont, Burlington, Lake Placid. Whole list of these. These are ones off the top of my head.
Man, I'm not finding it.
Oh, okay. That's right. So while she does that, we're gonna multitask. Anybody have any questions while we pull up this? Paris, Bueller, I'm forwarding it to you right now.
Here you go.
Oh.
Why I can't pull it up. So Nantucket, Stowe, Lake Placid, Telluride, Killington, and Lake George.
Which one did you send it to?
Oh, goodness gracious.
I know, right?
Your Gmail.
Okay. Nope.
Hold on.
Maybe we can just read it.
I'll read it to you guys. So,
Yeah, let's just do that.
For instance, Nantucket, Jill Adams put this sheet together and it was unbelievable. And it's a very helpful sheet, so we'll send it out to you guys. But I was able to narrow down her project to a little more manageable, I'd say, way to present it. So, the biggest thing is off the sheet that we're going to share with you guys, which I forwarded to you again. We picked 6 towns. The questions on Excel sheet are STR required to be owner occupants primary residence. any zoning restrictions, permit required to operate short-term rental, any permit period, fees regarding that, any notes regarding any property inspection required, and information required to provide the renters. So, I'd say based off the sheet, it's like we're almost there. Nantucket does not require someone to live in the property. They do require a permit of 12 months, application fee with $250. For compliance issue, besides the state bylaws, they also had to have a Board of Health inspection. And then they also had to provide descriptions of all their advertisements, a fire compliance sheet. And that's really across the board on a lot of the towns. So, here in the state of Vermont, Killington does use a short-term rental registration. It's $150 to $250 based on the number of bedrooms. The inspection report with occupancy is approved from the State Division of Fire is required for short-term rentals with an occupancy of greater than 8 people. And then they also had to fill out a short-term rental safety, health, and finance obligation form, also provided by the Department Division of Fire Safety.
Sorry.
And so, yes, we will forward this report out to you guys, but it was just really we went through the towns and found out any comparable towns, and then the committee used this report as a research method. Can you forward it out there, Paul?
Yeah.
Great.
They say what they use their rental fees for, what they do that money.
So we asked everyone if anyone uses, software. Some of the people use software. One town, and I'll pull it up from the report, has been able to hire 3 or 4 additional building inspectors that could manage the short-term rental. I believe that was what it was.
Yeah.
So we then looked at the existing ordinances in Dover and Wilmington. Dover has no ordinances that would apply to short-term rental. As for Wilmington considers short-term rental lodging. There are other considerations for noise, signage, wastewater permits, and allocations. So the sheet that the table we have here, 2 guest bedrooms. I'd say most of the rental properties we found were more than 2 bedrooms, but for instance, in the conservation district, they're not allowed. In the village district, they need a DRB permit. Residential and resort districts not allowed, and resort commercial needs DRB permit. So this is a sticky one because Wilmington, while they have these in place, not every zoning administrator has properly enforced them. Is the best politically correct way to put that. And so the way Wilmington stands now is that if there's a complaint about a property, they will let them know that they have to have a permit. Or if someone comes in and is seeking a permit, then they have to go through this process. That's
Yep.
politically
Perfect.
I'm gonna let Eric take over this part. So after we went through the research, we went through all the ordinances of the towns. We reviewed all the information we got from the state fire department. Then we went through all the different towns. We got information from, police, fire. There's one other section. Then we moved into registration software. So it was Eric and another member of the committee. So there's 3 different companies that we found for registration software. Granicus, Excella, and Avino. So we wanted to keep it an open playing field. So we scheduled a Zoom call. We gave each company about a half hour to make a presentation. And that was it. The research committee could ask them questions, but we asked them to sort of give us an overview of their platform.
So each of these companies offers a little something different towards what it was that we were looking to accomplish. Granicus seems to be the most full service of the three. Excella did offer some background, management and property identification as well, whereas Avenue provides more of a software solution for us to manage this ourselves. Through conversations with the committee, based on what we saw from these presentations, it seemed like Granicus and Excella were the two that definitely were warranted a deeper dive if we decide to go in the direction of a registration for the short-term rentals. Granicus, I forgot to mention, Granicus also provides services in terms of drafting and implementing ordinances within the towns, which means that they'll draft the ordinances and then also help to facilitate public meetings for comment on those ordinances and things like that. So definitely super full service with Granicus. So the overall thought of these companies, which kind of led us to say maybe Avenue was not the correct software for us, was that we're trying to avoid putting any more work on the current staff or having to hire new staff to manage this type of project. When a company like Granicus or like Excella already does this, third party, without us having to manage that data and be tracking all of those new renters. Ultimately, the choice should be based on the needs of the town, the overall expenses to the towns to register those short-term rentals and for the rentals themselves. The services, the list of services that they can provide, any previous experience they have in a tourism area, and their situational fit to what it is that Dover and Wilmington are looking at possibly.
Great. So, the last part of our presentation here is the committee took all the information, the research we gathered, and we went through a couple different meetings with Sue Westa from Wyndham Regional, being a great moderator, and we came up with recommendations for long-term and short-term rental for the BiTown housing community. So again, these are recommendations only, but it was a committee of 12, and we did spend about 6 or 7 months getting to this point. So we broke it down for long-term rental recommendations into 3 different categories: incentivize, create, promote. So incentivize, a tax deferment for landlords to help long-term rental, reduce water and wastewater for landlords, reduce barriers regarding sewer allocation fee, and reduce requirements, develop program for owner-occupied homeowners to develop accessory dwelling units, develop an incentive program to change current short-term rentals to long-term rentals. And then it was from there, it's going into create. So, Dover and Wilmington, we recommend a landlord group or association for education and training for landlords to include the following: education about existing long-term rental regulations for landlords and tenants, local books similar to Renting Vermont. If you want to see what that is, it's on the Dover housing page. Education about vetting tenants, safety certification checklist inspection for landlord for their properties. And then some other ideas to create was a database of long-term rental in region with no fee to register, a tenant education. Dover needs to work on zoning regulations for long-term rentals, education about future community development, creative rental solutions to address affordability. And then some ways to promote these recommendations are use of the tax bill and other utility bills for inserts for housing information. That was one of our best ideas that came across, encouraging the towns and the little comment bills on the tax and utility bills to direct people to Deerfield Valley housing website. And again, promote that website as well. Businesses have created employee housing in the past, offer it again, and renting rooms and common space for shared housing. So short-term rental, we went through the same process with Sue. This was a long one. This took about 2 meetings. We then narrowed it down to several items, and then we took what we're calling our informal votes. Since we had a list of 20 different ideas, we then voted through the process. So the first one may look confusing, but our first informal vote we took is whether what we were going to move forward with recommendations. So recommendation one, yes, the towns do need to look at rules and regulations regarding short-term rentals. Recommendation two is the town should consider exploring options of implementing a registration system for short-term rentals. You know, the biggest thing we've seen in our research that yes, short-term rentals do have a positive and negative impact on short-term rentals across the US. But the number one question from each town is how do we manage it and who's going to do it? So the committee did, our second recommendation is yes, to explore implementing a registration system for short-term rentals. Recommendation three, all short-term rentals shall complete the required fire compliance checklist in the state of fire safety department and file which the town in which rental resides. Now, this does already exist. It is not followed by everyone. Currently, it's a checklist that's on their website. And the only reason you get it is if the inspector visits your property or gets a complaint. Our recommendation is that it's required for all short-term rentals and that it needs to be resided in the town. If anyone hasn't seen it, we'll send it out with our afterwards. But the checklist goes over a lot of the things that would be nice to know for a short-term rental. Who's the emergency contact? How many fire extinguishers? How many, smoke detectors, etc., all the way through the property. Recommendation four, an emergency contact list should be posted in the entrance or in a prominent location inside each rental property with emergency contacts for the property and local emergency services. This is something that the hotels do, and this was a biggest point that we've seen is really just making sure how to bring in the safety aspects for rentals. Recommendation five is a point of contact for all short-term rentals must be on file with the towns for each property being used as a short-term rental. And then recommendation six, a point of contact or authorized representative must be able to respond to issues in the rental property within 1 hour, 24/7 while the rental is in use. This is a difficult one. We went back and forth on this one, and we came up with the final was that must be able to respond to issues. So whether it be a phone call, at least that someone's reaching the property within an hour and determining if it needs an on-site visit or if the phone call can solve it. And number seven was bear-proof trash and recycling storage required for any property being used as a short-term rental. If I can back up one point, one of the biggest things, really 1, 2, and 3 go over is that there are already rules and regulations in place from the state of Vermont. But the state of Vermont is just as short-staffed as the towns are on controlling short-term rentals. So the biggest thing that the committee wanted to pass on to the towns is that we recommend implementing a registration system to help implement the rules and regulations that are already in place. From the state of fire, the safety codes on rental properties is very, controls if you have a certain number of bedrooms, how many people you can sleep. It does the fire compliance checklist. It does multiple items, but the state fire marshal, the 6 of them that are all over the state cannot control the 10,000 rentals we have. And that's why he recommended items like this to help the towns control short-term and long-term rentals.
We're
Good.
good. We're good.
Any questions? Gretchen and Eric will be here to help answer your questions. I had a call out, so I have to go serve breakfast. But they were both on every single meeting, so it was a pleasure speaking to everyone, and let us know if you have any questions. We're not able to email the full report out until it's signed off by the committee, but we will share our research and the fire compliance checklist.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Don't forget your,
I know, right on time. I'm not gonna be in the dog.
thank you, Charlie. Great work.
You.
Don't forget your backpack.
Thank you.
Okay, so based on the things that we just talked about there, are there questions that we can help to answer? This, just so everybody knows, this report will be discussed again in front of the BiTown Housing Committee. And then we'll take it from there. Once everything is finalized, we'll take it to those select boards to have a larger conversation there. Questions? Okay,
Wow, that's good.
great news. All right, thanks for Charlie, thanks for being here to do that for us, and thank you guys for listening to that. If you have questions or comments that you don't have right, or that you want to ask later, feel free to reach out to myself or Gretchen. We can help you out. Okay. All right, moving right along to the marketing update.
Okay, so we have put out phase 1 of our campaign, and that ran from May 11th to June 12th. And that was on Meta only, which is Facebook and Instagram. We had approximately 6 million impressions and about 10,000 landing page views, which is more than double of this phase from last year, which is really great news that this is really working. It's important to, like change it up a bit. So we started phase 2 on June 12th with new assets. And we also did an introduction of a video on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Google Ads year to date has resulted in 139,000 impressions and approximately 12,000 website visits. Overall website traffic was 83,000 on the website versus the same period last year. So 83,000 website visits versus 55,000 last year. So we are really, we're doing much better than we were last year. We hosted a mixer at Fairways in May. Was that May or June?
It was May.
May, the end of May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right at the end of May. And we, as we showed you the video in our last meeting, we introduced that video to at that mixer. And the incentive, and I'm not sure who won the incentive. Do we know yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we know yet either. So hopefully, many people, we had, how many participants? I can't remember. I think it was like, we were up to like 12 or something.
Yeah.
12 businesses shared the video with their employees. And so we hit, I think Tim said, like 83 employees, something like that. So that was really good. And I just want to remind people that that video is still available to show your employees on things to do in the Valley. And so I hope that you still use it, even though the contest isn't going any longer. We set up at the Guilford Welcome Center today a display case, and we're highlighting lakes, biking, hiking, dining, as well as the Blueberry Fest and of course the Wine and Harvest Festival. We also have rack cards that we developed in the Guilford Welcome Center, and those will be there throughout the summer through, and actually into the fall through October. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. He wrote this down for me. 119 employees were shown the video across 17 businesses. So that's really good. We've gotten really positive feedback about the video, as well as the website too.
Yeah.
So people are really liking that. Any questions on BiTown marketing? Yeah. Moving right along, right?
Yeah, all right. So we're gonna move into economic data reporting. So this was something that Gretchen and I have been discussing for a while, and it's that we share kind of a snapshot of what our 1% income, looks like to fund all these things like marketing and the housing initiatives and beautification and all those things. Gretchen, did you want
To
to go
share,
first?
well,
I have mine.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
And you're gonna share screen?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try to find it while you're doing that.
Mm. 1 second.
I know, right? Whoever comes
There it is.
first, right?
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. Can you share screen?
Yeah, I think everybody's seeing my screen, correct? An Excel spreadsheet here. Perfect, okay.
Sorry, there it is.
you go.
So I can't find mine.
Okay.
I know, this is like,
So basically, here's just the overall data of, since the beginning of time, of what we bring in, for 1% money, in the town of Dover. This is all public information. Obviously, if you add all this up, this is not currently what's sitting in our bank. Like, that's a common misconception, is that we just have this massive pile of money and then we're just waiting for everyone to come and tell us what to do with it. So again, this helps to pay for everything from our marketing to our beautification to events in Dover, our summer concert series, the banners that you see, our incentive programs for our businesses, all of those things. So to give you a general idea of what that looks like over time, there's definitely a lot more green on there than there is red. Most recently, you'll see there's been some rather large fluctuations post-COVID, in our money, mainly looking at, the quarter ending 5/26/22 and 5/11/23, you'll see increases of 31% and almost 45%. 8/18/22, of August of 22, you see over 350% jump in those 1% dollars. Unfortunately, as great as our relationship is with the Vermont Department of Taxes, when we call them or email them to ask for clarifications, which they tell us to do when they send us the report, their response typically is, we can't tell you why it is what it is. All we can tell you is that it's right. So they've done that on all these major fluctuations, so that's the data there that we have to this point. Like to see those numbers getting bigger and bigger in the summer. That to us helps to let us know that that marketing is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Any questions on the Dover data for me? All right. We'll stop here. Gretchen's just gonna pull hers up quickly.
I think quickly. Okay. Share screen. Why is it not on here?
July 2023 data report,
Yeah, where is it?
right to the left.
This one?
That's your right. Other way.
Oh,
There
right
you go.
here. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Okay. Can everybody see the screen? So the total, so the 1% local option tax data, I do not get it directly. I have to ask for this, and I lots of times am not able to access it. So I'm trying to rectify that situation, but like totaling out meals and rooms from this last quarter, February to May, the meals and rooms, the town share became 46,098.58. And for sales and use tax, it was 107,000 $153,825.53, which totaled $153,924.11. Versus I know last year's total payment was $135,657. So we did go up, but I am kind of wondering, is this just cost of living, raising prices in especially food and beverage, food and alcohol, as well as lodging. And then, of course, the cost of goods just have also skyrocketed. And this is just a year over year thing that I have been keeping track of since I started working for the town of Wilmington. And the highlighted numbers are the numbers that have really increased. And the way that I get this information is actually going on to the tax department in data and statistics. And of course, this is very, very delayed information. And the other thing that you need to keep note on is that it's only the people that are actually paying their taxes and submitting on a quarterly basis. So, and lots of times these numbers do change throughout the year. So I try to go back and make sure that they're accurate. But as you can see, compared to last quarter, the first quarter in 2022, to do meals, I mean, we have really, we've gone up a lot, over $500,000, which is great. As well as, rooms and alcohol as well. I don't think, I didn't figure out percentage wise, but, it does seem like it's more than, I think that we're getting more activity, more sales, and it's not just that increase. And let's say retails and use, they have flattened, and that's a little disturbing, especially, we have the downtown that does retail, and we do have a new retail store coming in, so we're hoping that will be open in August. So hopefully those numbers will go back up, but our big retail is really Shaw's, Walgreens, and WW Building Supply are the big retailers that contribute a lot to that. But of course, along with our downtown, our small businesses, collectively have a huge impact on that retail sales number. So does anybody have any questions for me? And also, maybe, is there other information that you would like to see? I mean, I know that we mentioned wastewater flows, but I know that's going to be difficult for Dover to access. So let me know if this is way too much information,
Yeah, I think for us, it's not that the wastewater information would be hard to access, more so that it's not gonna paint a full picture because our wastewater doesn't hit, the majority of our towns. So I think that would be a difficult statistic for us to analyze, other than what's happening right on that main pipeline. But basically, like I had said, Gretchen and I wanted to be able to share this financial information with you. This is something that gets reported to the towns each quarter when it comes in, and then after we've reported it to the towns, we'll be bringing it back to you guys as well, and we can discuss, what happened in that previous quarter and what we think might have impacted the change. Okay, any questions on any of that? Perfect. We'll move along to other business. So I just wanted to make a note to everybody. We've been recording these meetings, and much like our housing meetings or our marketing, well, I don't think we post the marketing meetings.
we don't post them. Yeah, exactly. We don't.
But I wanted to put it out to the group, how, to gauge how everyone feels about us possibly posting these videos after the meetings. Are there thoughts, concerns? Basically, like any meeting we have in the town of Dover, we post to YouTube, and then it just gets linked back to our website, so that if somebody wanted to, you know, follow along with minutes or watch the meetings who aren't able to attend, we can absolutely do that. So as long as everybody's okay with that, we may start posting these videos at some point here. Okay.
Brian said he's good.
Yeah, I don't see any other issues with that, so perfect. Let's move into updates. Gretchen, Wilmington.
Okay, we submitted this past week 2 tax credit applications to the state of Vermont. One was for 12 South Main Street, which is right next to the library. And then the other one, and what they're doing there is they're doing a large renovation project. Of course, because the building is in need of lots of repair. And they are housing a nonprofit called I Love Art Space. And that will be upstairs in the loft, and then downstairs they're putting in like things to do on rainy days, or people who are non-skiers, from pottery classes to painting, to multiple different art mediums, classes, painting, etc. And the twist is they're going to have a bar in there. It'll just be beer and wine. And then the other one was 37 West Main Street. That used to be a paint store, and that's being renovated into 5 apartments and 1 retail space, along with let's see, sorry, they're having a call here. I'm distracted. Along with you know, space for Chris Brown's painting business. So that's so those 2 tax credit applications go in, and we should be hearing in late August or September if those are approved or not. And let's see, I've had lots of private developer housing inquiries. If all of these come to fruition, it is going to be like, whoa, we got housing. So I know Chris Brown is really excited about providing those. Other developers are like, I want to add some are completely new housing units. One was really, it was an exciting senior housing opportunity. So the other thing that we have been working on is we had the bylaw modernization grant, and we're working with the planning commission right now to get them on board and make these recommendations. They'll be having a hearing probably sometime in September, late August into September on those new regs. And then it would go before the select board. They'll hold their own hearing, and then hopefully a vote of in the favor. And this has a lot to do with density issues in the village center, which would increase people being able to renovate some of these properties, especially like on Shafter Street, to increase, instead of just, you know, 2 apartments, they would be able to put 3 or 4. And we're also working on a park next to the safety facility building on Beaver Street. This would be to memorialize veterans from the Korean, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iran wars. And so we're working, we have a plan that was designed by an architect, a landscape architect, and we're just looking for some funding now and moving forward. Hopefully, this will be built for next summer. And I think that's, oh, and of course, everybody knows that our building's getting painted right now. And new windows, and so, yes. They also did, the select board voted to have a committee look at relocating the town offices. And so they're still working on putting that committee together.
Thank you, Gretchen.
You're welcome.
Tom, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, but we are very serious about looking for a new place for the town office. Our building is very tired. And I can remember discussion of this 30-something years ago that they talked about it then, but they decided to forego and do some upgrades of the building. And it's just to a point now where we don't have access. There's a lot of things wrong, and we're going to have to put a lot of money into this location. We certainly would like to change that. But one really big note that we had at the select board, we lost Chuck Clarisi, and Chuck was he was our energy coordinator, and I'm saying that in that he ran all of our committees for building the town garage, for building the safety building. He's helped out in numerous ventures that we have explored, and he moved to Manchester, and he wants to utilize Burton rather than our local schools. But yeah, that's a big loss for us. We also were dealing with our tennis court and our pickleball fanatics. We have the court has been somewhat done, but this tennis court is in the floodplain and it's been hurting here for a while. But we'll see what happens. And Gretchen's right. We have new windows in, and it has already made a big difference, but noise-wise. So it just, the nice thing about this is I don't think we're going to cocoon the town hall here this winter. I think we can leave all of the window treatments off and actually have the sun come in. That'd be very nice too. Anyway, that's about where we are. Other than that, we're only meeting once a month at this point. It's summertime, and enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I'm the only rep from Dover here today, so I will go. So we're moving ahead on our project at Forest Hill, which is the hiking and biking trails, as well as the 18-hole disc golf course. We did pull a stormwater permit back from the state in about 3 weeks, which was awesome, and are now working on just finalizing our wetlands permit for the lower portion of the property. These were all permits we knew we were going to have to pull, and we are within our schedule to do so. We contracted a company called Arrowwood to delineate that lower wetland for us and get us help with the permit. So that'll be done by the end of the summer, and they can finish the lower part. We've been given approval by wetlands to move forward with the rest of the project on the upper part of the property. So our companies are in there as we speak, getting the trails and disc golf implemented. We're preparing for summer trail work on the rest of our properties, up at the town forest and things like that, making sure that things along the paved section of the Valley Trail are maintained for all of our users through the summer and into the winter. We just completed or received submissions to an RFP to replace the decking on the bridge on the paved section of the Valley Trail because it's been in disrepair for quite a while. The decking was original for the bridge when we installed the trail, so it's time to get that taken care of, and we received 4 bids on that, so we'll be having that done here shortly. We did close our Do It program for the year and awarded just over $45,000 in incentive to Dover businesses. Had some miscommunications, I think, with the application process and kind of how all of that fit together, and some additional money left over between our Do It money and our paving project money. So we've actually reopened the Do It program. I think it closes at the end of this week to applicants to either resubmit or applicants who may have missed. We're going to be funding another 3 full projects being $5,000. So that closes again coming up shortly. Summer concert series has begun. Unfortunately, the weather has not been cooperating the past couple of weekends. So we actually haven't been able to have any of our concerts to this point, but we're hoping, moving forward that the weather will get a little more conducive to outside events. And then the last update that I have is that, myself and the office, the assistant town clerk, Jeanette, are still working with the state to try to get some dollars to help assist with the well at the daycare and the library, which is the PFAS problem that I've talked about here many, many times before. That's all I have from Dover at the moment. Any questions for me? Perfect, easy group. Bill is not here, so we will skip over to the newly promoted Brian at Mount Snow.
Thanks, Eric. Hey, first, just want to say I appreciated the housing committee report. A lot of information to take in right there, but well done for sure. We're just kind of ticking along up here. The weather has not been our friend this summer so far, but we're always hopeful it's going to turn around for us. We had to cancel our fireworks show this past weekend due to the weather. We're in the process of rescheduling. Right now, we're have a tentative date out there of September 1st, which September 2nd is our Brewers Festival. So we would do the fireworks on that Friday right after the block party. The block party this past weekend was successful. We had nice weather for that. We had a really good crowd down at the main base. Golf course is doing really good right now, except we're in the we've been getting so much rain. It's pretty soggy out there, but the grass is green. It's playing great. One thing, we opened up 3 weeks later this year for summer. It gave us the opportunity to rework all of our bike trails up on the hill. And we're getting real positive feedback from our guests that have been up there, that the best of trails have been in years. So that's exciting to hear. And our trails team is over in Crosstown right now, kind of reworking some of those trails over there. If you've been over there, seeing some work that's been done. But yeah, that's what we got going on up here at the resort.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Laura, do you want to give us an update from the BDCC? Laura? All right, I think we will hop over Laura for the moment. Christine at the mover.
Good morning, everybody. So we are in summer swing right now, which is a little less crazy than our winter services. We did the fireworks shuttling this past weekend. I was in charge of that on Saturday night. Last year, we did somewhere around 730 to 750 rides. I think we're going to be comparable this year. It seemed like when I did the math in my head, we don't have the data yet. That'll be next week by the time I get it. But when I did the math in my head quickly and kind of counting what we moved back and forth, we might be a little higher than that. We might be around 800, but that's about where we were at. We shuttled from 2 locations, which was Howe Farm and the town garage. What's interesting is last year, the town garage was busier than Howe Farm. And this year, Howe Farm was busier than the town garage. So the town garage is generally people from Chimney Hill. Howe Farm is generally people from up in Dover. So I don't know if maybe because they knew that or had a feeling that Mount Snow might not have fireworks on Sunday because of rain, that we saw more people from Dover. Unfortunately, there's not really a way for us to track that, but I just thought maybe you guys would like to know that in case there is a way to figure that out. Other than that, our new fiscal year started 5 days ago in July. There has been pretty good grant funding for the company across the board. Nothing new as far as new startups. The state is in a holding pattern for any kind of new startups or any kind of new routes. So we're kind of at crazy status quo. We're very busy. We are in the very, very beginning stages of facility and feasibility study for a location in Brattleboro. We have a base in Wilmington. We have a base in Rockingham. We have about 10 to 15 vehicles that go out every day in Brattleboro, and it's a very, very busy fixed route system. And right now we're renting space in a dirt parking lot. So that's years to come because it takes a long time, but we're excited about that. So that's kind of our next big thing coming in the next coming years. So does anybody have any questions? And or not, Brian, we're going to start working on winter stuff, so we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Christine. Bethany, Chamber.
Yeah,
So we had our fireworks, we were able to have them, the weather cooperated on Saturday. Thank you to the mover and to both towns for helping support that and all the volunteers. I think we had well over 2,000 people. The field was definitely super full and fireworks show was really nice. I've heard really good feedback, so happy with that. We have our annual member meeting on July 11th. You've all gotten your invitations and can attend. We are presenting new bylaws that have been amended for voting, so hopefully there's nothing crazy in there, they just need to be cleaned up. And then we have our golf tournament on July 25th at Haystack Golf Course. There's still space available, people want to register their teams. And then we go right into the Blueberry Festival. The parade is back. I'm hoping for a good turnout for that. We've got the Dover Street Fair on the 29th as well, with magicians and music and circus performers and the craft fair and all the things. And then the following day is the boat extravaganza at the lake. And then we go into all the blueberry things, and end it with the block party that Wilmington Works puts on. We've started really pushing advertising for that. It just could have been a social post yesterday that I'll put some money behind. So we expect hopefully pre-COVID numbers for turnout this year. And then we go into wine and harvest, and ticket sales are higher than they've been in the past already. So hoping for really good turnout. We're bringing Moxie Band, which probably no one here knows about, but it is a local band that just started to really take off. They just finished their first tour. And hopefully, I'm hoping they'll be like close to, like, similar to a NovaCon, and by the time we get to September, people will not be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but also it might draw in younger crowd. It seems like their fan base is a little bit younger. So hopefully that will help drive up those numbers for wine and harvest, but I'm expecting a good turnout. We have really great vendors already, some different ones that we've had in the past. So that's good. I did just hire a new membership and events coordinator, Julia Minguez. She started a week and a half ago. You probably received an email from her introducing herself. She's really great. She brings a lot of background in membership management, and so I'm excited to have some help in that area. And then Jillian Mahan is still working for us. She's focused more on marketing and social media content. So I'm starting to have like a really solid team at the chamber. And renewals will start in September. So if you see an invoice from us, just know that we're trying to get back on track with our whole renewal process as well.
Okay, any questions for Bethany?
Bethany, what day is the parade for the Blueberry Festival? I know Janet told me in passing and I cannot remember.
That's okay, it's July 29th.
July 29th. And do you have a time?
Yes, it starts at 10.
Starts at 10. Is it going to be kind of similar to what they do? Are you doing it in Dover, like what they've done in the past? Or are you doing it in Wilmington? You're doing, okay.
Still in Dover. I sent out a couple newsletters that included a link to sign up, but I'll do an email blast probably today. So
Okay.
if you've been having a flow, please have one and just fill out that form. It's free. And we're hoping for lots of floats in the parade. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And then Christine, you should probably also know about Block Party is happening on South Main, so South Main will be closed. Is that, Sam, is that August 1st?
August 5th.
August 5th.
August 5th.
Road will be closed from like 3 to the block party goes till 8.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
And we lost Laura.
Yeah, it looks like Laura dropped off, so not terrible for bi-monthly meetings. Okay, so our next meeting will be September 7th. If there's anything you'd like to see on the agenda or would like to discuss with the group, please let me know ahead of time and I will make sure to get that on the agenda. I'll send a reminder out prior to the next meeting, but we don't meet again until September 7th. If anybody have any questions or concerns in the meantime, feel free to reach out to myself or Gretchen. Other than that, can I have a motion to adjourn? Heidi makes a motion to adjourn. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in September.
Bye.